Hello explorers and welcome to another video. Today we are going to talk about Ceph and how to submit a pull request to the Ceph team if you find something that is not working well and how to resolve bugs in general. So first off, I want to explain the problem. So we have here a Ceph GUI. This is a test cluster that I run locally. And let's see that I go into this pool here. And you see that I have a GUI of this pool and we have a couple of different columns here shown. And this replica here, I know that that is always going to be 3 because I never change that. Applications, I know which applications there are too, but I'm not going to use that information right now. Crush set is something that I might look into sometimes, but not often. This usage column here is really important to me, and also the read write is also something that is changing, so that could be good to see at a glance. If we look at this here, we see that we also have PG status. I know how the placement groups actually feel, if they are during scrubbing or if they are repairing or anything like that. That could also be interesting to see. So my setup here would be to remove these columns and just keep these 2 or these 6 columns. That would be my preferred setup. So now I've done that, and then I go to a different column here again and look at the GUI, and I go back and no, I have a different setup here. It's not the same. It's not the first one that I set up. It's not the last one I set up. Let's say that we put all of the columns in here. And now I can not even click them. There we go. So now I've added all of them. Go to dashboard and go back. Now all of them are there. So there is something here that is not working well. And after digging through it a bit here, I found this little setup here with the columns. So if we change something over here, we see that these columns update and we get hidden false on applications, for instance. And if I go in here again and hide applications, we can see that applications is now hidden. So this is set, and if I reload the page, they are still set the same way. They does not change. So the problem is in the function that actually reads the data, not the function that sets the data. So that gave me a clue where to look in the code. And I went to the site for the Ceph project and looked into the issue list. I actually found this issue here that was created 9 months ago and haven't really been changed since then, where table hiding selections changed automatically. And then when they are talking about these things that are not really working, you hide specific things and it's not really hidden when you go back to it and so on. So I thought that this was telling the same kind of story that I had a problem with. So I wanted to look into this and see if I can actually solve it. And to do that, you first off need to check out the code, of course. So let's go back to this. So I checked out the code. I have that locally here. And then I ran through and tried to compile everything. And that was not really a good way to go forward. But after a little while, I found this in source PI binding manager dashboard frontend, and this is pretty much its own little repository or its own little feature. This is the frontend built in Angular, and it's just a simple standard node application. So this I could edit as I want, and I could also just run the code here. So first off, they said that you run npm CI in order to update or install all the dependencies. So I did that, and then I ran npm start, and this goes through and actually starts a server locally. And I needed to add an extra flag here in order for the SSL certificate to work. So I think I will get that issue now as well, but we can go back and look here at the code. I have it here. Let's see. So here in the package JSON, I could add this extra flag. Another thing that I also fixed this you need to fix is actually this proxy config JSON, and this is something that should point to your local setup now, so your front end knows where to talk to the API, the UI API, and the docs. And I just pointed it to my test cluster here and the IP of that, and that worked just fine. So what you want to see is that you actually have this API running here on this port, and it is like that, and in this case, and then we can look at the proxy configuration and put everything set up here. So we should use those ports. Another thing that I needed to change is actually in this start script here for npm, I added disable host check, and that is just you can use a self-signed certificate on your test machine here. And if you're running this GUI against the production system with the certificate, then you don't really have this problem. Then you can test it as you want. So I'm not going to show you exactly how that I implemented it, but it actually got it to work in my current setup. I'm on the wrong branch at the moment, and there is some conflict, so it can't really run there. But if I reload this page here, I see that I get the right columns. If I go here and configure this as I want it, and then reload it, it will give me the wrong columns again, which is not really what I expect when I have this. So I looked into the problem, tried to figure out what was the issue, and what I found was this little function here. After a little bit of digging, a lot of console outputs and so on, I found that there is a function there that run for each. Let's see if we can do this a little bit larger. So they do this local column, and then do a for each over that, and then find the user configurations columns is hidden, and then setting it there for that index. But the index here in these user columns might not be the same index as these local columns, because they have no real relation between them. This is a configuration which has a couple of fields. These local columns is actually objects that are running in the system. But the property name is prop, so what I did here was actually go in here and go through each of these for the user configuration, because that is what I want to change, and I know the user configuration contains everything that I want to update. So I go through each of them, and then I go through each of the local columns and see if I can find a property with the same name, and if I do that, then I will set that specific column name there. So that was my fix for this. When I sent this in, they had a specific format for every commit that you do. So you need to have, first off, a little bit of an information on where you have done the change. In this case, it's the manager dashboard, and then what you actually changed in small terms, and then a little longer. And then you had to say which PR you tried to fix, and then a sign off who actually did this. And might not be correct that I should be the sign off, maybe someone else should be that. I have never done this before, so I asked here in the issue. I've done the PR, please tell me if I have done anything wrong. So hopefully they can come back to me and tell me where I'm done wrong. And I have also submitted this PR here, and there is the Windows test failed here, but let's see what this actually gives. This is the first time, and I can add in the description down below how this actually went. If I tried to solve something here, and this is something that has been annoying me a lot while actually doing some management or updates on my Ceph cluster. I've gone back and forth to the pool and looking at things at a glance, trying to figure out things, or going into the disk view and trying to figure things out there. And the columns always changing on me was really annoying, so I tried to fix something here. I hope that you found this interesting. I hope that you learned something today. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave them down in the comment section down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues, and I really hope to see you in the next video.